I've made you wait long enough, so let's take a look. Captain's log, day 1, the project begins. All right, so it's a balmy 2 Celsius outside here, late November. Sun's shining though, so that's definitely a win in our neck of the woods. And finally, after over 2 years of living at my house here, I've gotten the clarity, the vision for the way that I want to go about really tying the whole garden together. And so today we're gonna be doing a pretty big little garden project, garden renovation. I'm just gonna throw this on the tripod here. All right, I'm really happy and glad that I took the whole 2 years for beginning this project, because it's been really good to understand kind of how the sun hits the property and how I should be incorporating that into the updates and plans that I'm making here. And so you can't see it right now, but you'll be able to later in the day. This area right behind me is one of the sunniest parts of my house. This is my front yard area, but there's that fence that then leads into the backyard. So it's just been grass and a little bit disjointed, not actually garden space. This project is entirely focused on beginning to connect the front yard and the backyard here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to be taking down that fence there, and then I'm going to be turning this whole front area into a flowing garden that connects into the backyard with a split rail fence along the front here. So now when you walk up the stairs, you're going to walk in underneath a little trellis that's going to have a wisteria climbing over it and into this flowing garden that should go directly into the backyard there. So that's the high level vision plan. That's about the extent of the plans that I have here. So it's definitely going to be a little bit of a journey, and to get started here, I'm just going to start clearing out these beds so that we can have completely blank canvas to begin to work off of. We're about an hour and a half in. Cleared everything out. The beds are out. Just a little bit of soil, cardboard on the ground. The trellises for the squash are out. We're doing good. But coming up next is the part that I've been dreading the most on this whole project, and that is getting rid of the grass here. So I'm gonna pull all of it out, just again, so I have that completely blank canvas when it comes to starting to put the space together. So let's dive into that. I'm already dreading it. Alrighty, so we are just about there. Don't worry, I haven't been out here the whole time. I'm on the far side of the grass now. It's nearly all pulled up. I don't think I'll quite wrap it up this evening, but we're getting close, and then all the grass will be out, and we'll be, yeah, working with our blank canvas. So the show goes on. Alright, Captain's log. Just woke up, and not sure if you're able to see it, but it's snowing out there. Not sure if we're going to get any work done today. Alrighty, check it out here. As you can see, grass is now all gone. So we're just about at that blank canvas that we're looking for. And last thing that I'm going to do here is I'm just going to grab my rototiller and just kind of loosen up some of the soil here to move it around and make it kind of as close to even or flat as possible. Definitely not going to be 100%, but yeah, just going to even it out a little bit here. And so what I'm doing with the rototiller is that the soil at the back towards the window there is a little bit higher up, and then it kind of just fades to the front at the beginning here. And so I'm taking about 4 or 5 inches off the back here, and then just adding that onto the front so that as the back comes down, the front's also coming up, and that's what's going to get it nice and level there. so here we have it all nicely cleared out. I'm not gonna lie, I'm getting pretty excited now. So there's something just about like working with that completely blank canvas where you can really start to see it and begin to picture or envision, you know, how it could come to life, and just the just the canvas that you have to work with there. The timing on it actually works out perfectly because tomorrow is when I go to pick up the split rails to begin building the fence on the front side here, and then the arbor, both of which I have never done before, have no real idea what to do. Not a great woodworker, so could get a little bit interesting here over the next few days. Alrighty, just hopped in the truck and am on my way to pick up the split rails, so let's go and get them. Alrighty, so the wood is procured, got it in the back. We are all set, so now just time to make the run back up to Squamish, and I'm excited. It's looking pretty good. It's gonna take a little bit of work to just kind of like get them all the same size so it's nice and uniform, but I really like the kind of like the raw goods that we have to work with to build this out, so the journey continues. All right, so we've made it back to Squamish here, safe and sound. And we've got probably about like 90 minutes of sunlight or so left. So I'm actually gonna go ahead and actually start stacking a few of the rails up just to get a bit of a feel for what it looks like. And I'm really, really excited for this because I've kind of been dreaming of what it could look like for a couple of months now. So here we go. I hope I don't hate it. All right, so we got our first kind of look at it right there, and without having done any work on the wood at all yet, I'm actually pretty happy with where we're at. The things that like kind of irk me are like the difference in sizes of space between the logs, but that's just because I haven't made them that nice uniform size yet. So happy with where we're at. And I really enjoy doing something like this where it's like, all right, let's put it out there, see a little bit in terms of like what it looks like before then making those kind of next round of plans. A little bit easier that way than putting all the eggs in one basket at once, you know? Because right now, this is the extent of my planning so far. So that's the fence that we're looking at the front. I'm sitting like right here right now, and then this is the arbor that's going to be built, and this is the rock path right there. Pretty much an architect. Matt. All right, so next what I'm gonna be doing here is I'm gonna move them all over to the garage area. And that's where I'm gonna start kind of figuring out, okay, which ones, like I really like these smaller ones that we have. And then I'm gonna start figuring out, okay, which ones do I cut down to try to get to that size. Over to the garage we go next. Alrighty, so all that I'm going to do is just make a mark on each of them at 3 inches in height, and then I'm just gonna rip this off from one side to the other. Safety first. Alrighty, well, I can take these off here now. So I've ripped a bunch of the logs here, and now I'm gonna set them up, see how it looks with this little adjustment that we've made. Alrighty, check it out, there it is. And you're not getting more than a sneak peek like that for right now, but the stoke is officially super high. Yeah, I've been waiting for a moment of hopefully like trying to kind of like fall in love with it, how it looks, and getting them all to that like 3 inch in size, looking nice and uniform, has me feeling that way for the first time. So that means full steam ahead here. I'm going to cut the rest of the wood the same way, and then we'll get it all over towards the garage, sand it all down so it's all ready and prepped to go, and then it'll be on to the arbor to get that all squared away. Alrighty, all the logs are sanded, done, and dusted, ready to go. Not actually dusted, it's just a saying. It started raining a ton while I was out there, so I'm gonna head inside, warm up, have a bite to eat, because I've been running around every which direction. And then depending on how I feel after that, I might come back out and get started on the arbor, or I might save that for tomorrow morning, to be determined. Stay tuned. Okay, look at this out here. I mean, if that isn't a sign that today is the day to assemble it all, then I don't know what is. Plus, the next like 7 days in the forecast is just rain, rain, rain. So it's time to get straight to it with bringing it all to life. All right, so it's end of the beautiful day and garden is not built. So, yeah. There are two issues with the arbor. The first one was that the concrete like just didn't really set, and the way that I built it out didn't work at all. So it just like it wasn't stable in there whatsoever. And then the second piece was that the angle of where I had the arbor really like just didn't make sense and wasn't working. Like you're kind of like looking through the arbor directly at the house opposed to at the garden. So that was not so good. And yeah, so then I played around pretty much for the whole day trying to figure out like what I was going to do, how to go about it, and thought that I had gotten some clarity, and that was to not use the arbor for the time being. But I just put the arbor in a new location, and I feel like I like the way that it looks there. So all that to say is that we're signing off this evening, and I got no idea what to do next, where things go from here with this project. Yeah, I'm gonna sleep on it. Probably won't sleep that much on it because I'll be like ruminating and worrying about it. But we'll see. We'll figure something out. Alrighty, so it's next morning here and had a couple of phone calls last night, a little bit of deliberation on what to do, and have made my decision. Gonna progress forward without the arbor for right now. I realized that it's, you have to install it properly. I'm gonna have to get down pretty deep, which I actually dug like 30 inches deep yesterday evening after the last video. And so because of that, and because I'm not like 100% sold on how I want the arbor to look in the yard, I don't want to jump into it too quickly. So what that means is that today we're going to assemble the fence. I've got everything laid out and ready for today. I'm really hoping to have like a smooth first few posts putting in, because that will really help kind of get the spirits up, the momentum high. To be honest, I'm just feeling like a little bit like embarrassed about the arbor, I would say, more than anything, and it not working out. Hoping here that as we start working away here and getting this installed and set up, that the spirits will climb. So let's get to it. All right, so I've put landscape fabric down underneath where each of the footings is sitting, and then made sure that they were all level, double, triple checked on those. And now I've just put in the rebar that we're going to run the logs along. So next is the kind of big moment of truth of seeing whether or not the log will go onto it smoothly. She's on. Phew. So it's going on super smoothly, which is exactly what I was hoping for and needing at this particular point in this project. Each one is just sliding down really, really nicely. So yeah, stoke meter is fairly high. Once again, I'm a little bit bummed still about the arbor, but it's kind of a cool opportunity for you to potentially maybe help me out. So if you've got any ideas for what you think would look good from an arbor perspective, let me know in the comments. We'll do that as a follow-up project at some point here. And I'm gonna continue along on finishing this off. All right, so the fence is in, and we just have 3 last things before I get to show it to you, which I'm so excited to do. And the first one is that we're gonna knock in the final little bits of each of the rebar so they're fully flush with the wood. Okay, now the second piece I'm gonna do is just drill a screw into each of the pieces of wood to connect all of them for a little bit more stability. All right, the final piece before the big reveal. This fence must go. And I've made you wait long enough, so let's take a look. Alrighty, so there we have it, and we're gonna chat through that in just a second, but before you take off, if you've enjoyed this video and if you want more videos like this, then let me know down in the comments that you want more garden project videos, and if there's any that come to mind, please let me know. Now, this project, I really started to fall in love with it when I kind of let go of having to figure it all out at once and have it all done by the end of that kind of week that I was working in. I was starting to get a little bit stressed there for not being far enough along or not getting it finished, and so letting go of that was really, really nice. And I started to approach it as simply the first phase in this garden project or garden projects that I'm working on here. And so some of the things that I have on the horizon are that I still do feel like there's some form of an arbor that would work really, really well at the beginning and the front of the garden here. Another one is, of course, I need to put in some beds and to make use of all the space that I cleared out from the grass. And then the third garden project that I'm really excited about is to put in rain barrels to catch the rainwater coming off of the roof and to begin utilizing that as my irrigation. So if any of those are of interest to you, or if there's something else that you'd love to see me work on, please let me know down in the comments, and we'll get to those sooner or later here in the next bit. So that's everything for right now. Thank you so much for coming along on the journey with me. We've had certainly our highs and our lows, but I'm looking forward to the next one already. So go get your hands dirty, and I'll catch you on the next one.